Welcome to the Milk and Cookies podcast. This is the super amazing podcast that has absolutely everything to do with American football and nothing to do with Milk and Cookies. My name is Alex, joined today with a fan of the show. We have Cowboys Super Fan, Mr. Steve. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Couldn't be any better. Living the life right now. So, you're a Cowboys Super Fan, been bleeding blue and silver since the day you were born.
Yeah, I've been a Cowboys fan since about 1977. So
All right.
most of my adult life.
Awesome. And just if you're able to wrap all of that being a Cowboys fan for as long as you have been into one single play, one single game, one single season, what was the moment that you were the most proud of to be a Cowboys fan?
Wow, that's a really good question. I'd have to bring it back to the Tony Dorsett days. I was watching the Monday night game, I believe it was against the Vikings, that he broke the 99-yard run from the 1.5 yard line.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll never be broken. So that was impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's right up there with when Emmitt Smith broke the rushing record. I was watching then too. So real big days for the Cowboys.
Yeah, and that was during what time frame was that? That was Emmitt Smith was the 80s. And
Emmitt Smith was the 90s.
90s. Oh boy.
Tony Dorsett was the 80s.
Yes, mix them up. Now, compared to those days now, what's one thing about the Cowboy season so far this year that you're proud of?
Well, I'm proud of Dak's comeback for one thing. I mean, Dak is he's a warrior, and came back better than most people thought he would be. The only issue is that they've been banged up this year, and they're all pretty much playing through injuries.
That's very true.
You're only as good as your body is for the game, and if you're trying to tough it out, you're gonna have some chinks in the armor, and I think that's what we've seen the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm, of course, but the thing is that despite being somewhat injury prone, you guys have still been able to pull out 9 wins out of 4 losses, mainly due to Dak's amazing comeback. Surely, unless some freak show accident happens, I would imagine Dak Prescott's going to win Comeback Player of the Year, hands down.
I don't count anything until it's done, but I can tell you that he should.
You should. Now, oh boy, I think I have a question. I think I already know what the answer was. So, the Cowboys have been on a pretty good streak lately. They are not only one of the front runners of the NFC, but they're about 1 win away from winning their division and clinching a playoff spot. But of course, it's come with some losses. What was one loss so far this season that if you could turn into a win, you would?
Let's see. They lost to the Raiders, the Broncos,
the Bucks,
and I'm having a hard time recalling the other loss. So I would have to go with the Bucks loss at the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Quite honestly, they could have won that game. They were coming back, and I think that it could have been a different story to start the season off. And if you win the first game of the season against the Super Bowl champs, it's always a boost for your team for the season. So I think that would have done some wonders for their morale.
Of course. Now, the other loss was against Kansas City a couple of weeks ago. That was the other team.
Right. Yeah, that's Kansas City, and Kansas City just turned it on. I mean, they're one of the most dangerous teams in the league right now because they've found their groove. So, I think that the disappointing one would be the Bucks game. I think they could have won that. They should have tried harder and won that. I think that the other two teams, they just get a little bit ahead of themselves, maybe looking past the Raiders on Thanksgiving, maybe looking a little bit past the Broncos on that game. So, I don't like my holidays ruined by a Cowboys loss, but I still have to say the Bucks loss was the worst.
That was, I honestly believe that was probably one of my favorite games of the year so far, not because of the end result, but just of how close it was. It was The Dallas Cowboys that have played their first. Dak was coming into his first game back from his bad injury last year, in, I believe, week 5.
It was pretty. Yeah, I think it was
Around
week
that
5 or
time.
something. It was against the Giants. Yeah,
Yes.
in Texas.
Yeah. So it's been almost a full year since he played a full game, let alone made a start. And you open up against the Super Bowl champs, and not only Super Bowl champs, but in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, what a statement win that would have been.
It was a heck of a statement when Dak comes in and looks like he can actually beat the Bucks. I very thoroughly remember week 1, one of our other hosts, Anthony, the Bucks fan, was very adamant about the Cowboys and how the Bucks would absolutely steamroll them, mainly because of previous season, previous expectations. But honestly, I was never more excited for the Cowboys. I mean, you go into Tampa Bay and you lose, you know what, by 2 points. A missed field goal would have changed that entire game, but that set precedence for the rest of the season. And since that start, now they're 9-3. Like,
Yeah, it's they persevered. So we'll see what happens. I've been a Cowboy fan too long to get ahead of myself in the projections. I've been there through the 1-15 seasons, through the losses to the Steelers in the Super Bowl, the win over the Steelers in the Super Bowl. I mean, you can't don't count your chickens until they hatch. The Cowboys could absolutely tank this the last 5 weeks of the season,
mm-hmm.
and it could be, or 4 weeks of the season, and it could be a disaster. So I'm hoping they don't. I think they've got the right mentality, but it remains to be seen.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you guys are 4 games away from making a playoff spot. Anything can happen. The Cardinals just lost last night against the Rams, so honestly, that first place seed is available for anybody to take.
Right, yeah, but you're probably going to have to go through Wisconsin to get that first place seed. So they're going to have to fold, and they almost never do. That's their hallmark. So we'll see what happens. I don't care if they go in as a 3 or a 4 seed, as long as they get into the playoffs and then they get their heads screwed on right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most important thing. We've seen the Giants do it every time they go to the Super Bowl. They go in as a wild card, they end up winning the Super Bowl. So, it's one of those things that it is, nothing really matters as long as you make the playoffs.
Exactly. Once the second that you make the playoffs is when you actually sit down and when you look at what the road ahead is going to look like. But for now, the next 4 weeks, it's just trying to get that playoff spot, regardless if it's a wild card or a divisional title. So
right. Limp the team to the finish line and then go into the playoffs. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Now, just the last thing that I kind of want to end on, or maybe one of the last things, the defense. The defense has been a complete different team from what it was last year. Last year, Dallas's defense was one of the worst, and now it's turned around, and it's been, in my opinion, it's definitely one of the better half of the teams.
Right.
Mainly due to Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons has been an absolute beast at linebacker, lodging a forced fumble last week and a sack. And that D line is still already fantastic. It's been fantastic. Trayvon Diggs, 9 interceptions on the season is honestly a fantastic number. Any cornerback that can get to double-digit picks should surely be thought of as a defensive player of the year. So do you think, how do I ask this question? Of all the new pieces that you have on defense, from the translating of Trayvon Diggs taking up a bigger role in being that cornerback number 1, or Micah Parsons coming in and looking to be the rookie of the year defensively, I guess just what's your favorite player on that defense? What is that one piece do you think has revitalized that entire team?
Well, I like DeMarcus Lawrence. He's been the sole heart of that defense for about 5 seasons. He's been really the one that's holding it all together, and I think he really has some pieces around him now that are helping him probably play up to his potential, because he's experiencing less double teams and things like that. For one, Randy Gregory's having a breakout season. Absolutely. Randy Gregory, is a success story. He came into the league about 5 years ago and has been suspended about 4 times for marijuana use, and he's finally seemed to have figured that out, that he's got the talent to be a star in this league, and how to stay off the injured the commissioner's radar. So he's having a breakout season. Micah Parsons obviously is I mean, his sky is the limit for that guy. Plays D line when the linemen are out, and he plays linebacker. I mean, he's he's a talented young man. And then Trayvon Diggs, that whole family. His brother is obviously Stefan, or the receiver for the Bills. So they saw that coming last year. That's why they kept him at all costs. So I'm glad that they've got a piece or two in each of the levels of defense. I think that's what is bringing this defense around this year. Normally they've only had one, and like their secondary or their line was falling off, but now they have a star in every area, and I think that helps them become the defense that they are this year.
Of course, having a star player in every aspect is definitely what's going to make any defense shine, and the Cowboys is just another instance of that.
Right. And it also helps them. Just I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry, but it also helps their offense. I mean, if they had gotten the whole preseason together, I know a couple of them were dinged up during the preseason, but if they had got the whole preseason together, that makes CeeDee Lamb better. That sharpens Amari Cooper. That sharpens Gallup. All these other guys. So I think that only having a good defense sharpens your good offense. They make each other better. So that should translate to something later on in the playoffs.
Well, especially with now that the offense is averaging in the high 20s a game in terms of points, it allows the defense to not feel that pressure of having to shut down the offense every single drive. If they allow a field goal or allow a touchdown, they know that the Cowboys offense can help kind of take that pressure and that stress away from them.
Right. So yeah, we'll see. I'm I won't call it doomsday yet, but it's getting there. It's getting better. It's getting better. I have them on my fantasy team, so that tells you something.
I do have CeeDee Lamb on my team.
Yeah.
He's been fantastic this year so far.
Yes, he has.
Now
he's a stud.
Yes, he's a fantastic pick, an utter steal in the 2020 draft. I picked 18, 19, one of the two.
Yeah.
But he's been a steal. One more question before we end this.
Absolutely.
What is the team to beat in the NFC right now?
Packers.
The Packers?
Yeah. I think the Packers could beat the Cardinals, and the Cardinals were the team to beat last week. And I think that the Packers are better than the Bucks. And I think that the road goes through Wisconsin. Right. Unfortunately, I think it does, but because obviously the refs in Wisconsin don't see touchdowns like they should. Shout out to Des Bryant. So anyway, that was a they're the team to beat in the NFC for right now for sure.
No kidding. Well, hopefully the road does not lead through Wisconsin, because Wisconsin late December, early January is one of the worst places to ever play.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you don't have to just fight the weather. You got to fight the zebras too, because they make very bad calls in December in Wisconsin. Not that I'm bitter or anything.
I agree. Well, I mean, the Cowboys have proven that they're able to beat some of the team's top leagues, and they've beaten the refs a couple of games so far this season. So hopefully they can maybe overcome the Packers and beat the refs in Green Bay if it leads to that.
We'll see.
We'll see. But I think that'll do it. Yes, that'll do it for this episode. Thank you so much for doing this interview.
Absolutely. It's been great. I this is my first one of these kind of things to do, talking about my Cowboys, and I hope that didn't sound like too much of an idiot.
Nah, I mean, Cowboys are doing great, and you had some really good stuff to share. So we hope to have you back soon. And actually, we will have you back soon in a matter of a few minutes on the next episode. But just thank you so much for watching. We're going to do the breakdown videos for week 14, and then we'll bust out our predictions. But thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys real soon.